Ready Check Radio. What's up, Internet? It's Thursday. It's 7 p.m. Eastern, and that means here on Ready Check Radio, it's time for the Relic Grind, our Final Fantasy XIV Square Enix podcast. We sit down every week and chat about all things Square Enix and see if there's good stuff, bad stuff going on, and we talk about it with you and chat. Twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio, doing it live so they can chime in as well. I'm your host, as always, Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man. Thank you once again for tuning in with us. Hope you'll join us live sometime. And if not, and you're watching on YouTube or listening on Audible or Spotify or any of the podcast platforms, thank you so much. While you're there, give it a like, a subscribe, turn on those notifications, all that fun stuff. And head on over to the site there, ReadyCheckRadio.com. You'll get all the socials and the backlog of the shows. Joining me on today's show to go over all kinds of fun stuff, Mr. Chris Montoya, a.k.a. Tarkoth. What's up, sir?
Greetings, programs. It's been a good week. It's been a really good week. I'm almost done with Final Fantasy XIV, man. I think I got maybe 2 streams left.
Cool.
What I need to ask you, though, is are you excited for the Icy Hot Bowl?
Yes.
Yeah?
Tonight, my Steelers taking on the Cincinnati Bengals, both with quarterbacks over 40 years of age. In the Steelers, having your boy Aaron Rodgers, well, your ex-boy,
my ex-boy,
Aaron Rodgers,
He'll come back.
And the Bengals picking up Joe Flacco from the Browns, a division rival.
Like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, after some injuries. So, yeah, it'll be weird. It'll be weird. I mean, the Steelers have, they're in this weird spot where we're not a great team.
Yeah.
But we are massively the beneficiaries of some key injuries in the AFC North. And just, man, they could really just put a stranglehold on the division 6 weeks in if they manage to win this tonight. Because they had the bye, and the Ravens, Browns, and Bengals all lost when the Steelers had the bye. They came back, and then the Steelers beat the Browns. And on the other side, the Ravens lost again, and the Bengals lost again. So it's a 2-game swing right there. One of the weeks we had the bye. None of our division opponents had the bye yet. So if you can sneak a win in any of those bye weeks, you're in an even better position against that division opponent. And literally, putting the Bengals on another loss tonight, I mean, that'd be incredible. Not a great team, but can you argue with getting it done? When you have the opportunities, take them and get them.
Every year, got to be one division. That's just the worst, and that's I think AFC North. Unfortunately,
it might be. It might be they're not a terrible team, but they've got clear gaps and clear holes that they did not fill in the offseason. But I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. We have that contractual have to get 9 wins, right? Because it's Mike Tomlin's not allowed to have a losing season. So once we get there,
500 or 1 game over. So as long as that.
Anyway, as I'm sure he cares very much about this topic. Why does it look so dark in my room today? I have all my normal lights on. I don't know what it is.
He's being emo today. Just you're fine.
We have Mr. Paul Berlin, a.k.a. Flynn, back with us. Off last week, had some quality family time, and then managed to catch a little bug. You feeling better, friend?
Yeah, it was an interesting week. Managed to go see a concert, feel fine, get ill, then drive 5 hours across 2 countries to get home. I could have done the show, but my brain did not work.
Yeah,
well, I managed to chill out in chat.
Yeah, you hung out in chat. Much appreciated.
Involved that way. Let him back when, I'm glad I'm not on webcam.
Why not? I mean, hey, with the whole time of year it is for Final Fantasy XIV, though, there's not a lot going on in there. So we do get the opportunity to at least ask your opinion on some of the things that Tarkoth and I were talking about last week in 735. What did you think when you got a hold of the Monster Hunter thing? What about the new Deep Dungeon? What are your thoughts on the .35 there?
I have barely done anything.
Really?
My group of my friends, we're doing a Monday night Deep Dungeon thing, so we've got to floor 40 so far.
Nice. Nice.
Really enjoying it. I love the candelabra system transforming into things. Turning into mud balls and just Sonic falling into enemies is absolutely hilarious.
What do you think of like
yet.
the faster upgrading, the more checkpoints, like the more eco-friendly stuff in there? What do you think of that?
Yeah, everything feels nicer. The faster ether pool leveling up is probably one of the nicer features. But also visually not being stuck indoors as much, just feels nicer.
Yeah.
Like it's the same loop, but it just feels nicer. And having that one candelabra that turns off the map is hilarious when all the party is split up in a large room. When you got like a 9-room map and you're all split up, it's like, where the hell's the exit, guys?
That's when you need that special essence, man. That's when you need that special essence.
I did go and get my minions from the Monster Hunter thing, so now I'm officially basically done with that. At some point, I'll farm the rest to get the mount and stuff, but
yeah,
I was like, what do I need? 6? That's 3 runs? Yeah, okay, we can do that.
You want to? I am done with the Monster Hunter. I got the mount as a drop on my second clear.
Did you really?
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, what do I need to get? Okay, so I need 8 more clears, 10 clears, and I got everything I need and want from them. I'm done with the piece of content within 1 week. I'm like, God, that feels weird.
And it's not going away. It's not even a limited time thing.
Yeah. The healer weapons are crap though. Piety.
Flynn, your thoughts on the Monster Hunter event?
I like the idea of it. Having some evergreen collabs is always fun. I did enjoy the Rathalos fight, so I'm looking forward to doing this. I just haven't willed myself into it at the minute. I'm living in Digimon Time Strangers. Like, yeah, just give me single player RPGs that look good at the minute. My brain is actually enjoying some gaming.
Before we leave 735, Tark, you now that you've had a little more time in Deep Dungeon, you've also experienced Quantum, which I think you hadn't had a chance to get to when we talked about this last week, but we talked about some of the conceptual design of it and four-person fights in general. You got a little bit of a beef, and it's
I do have a little bit of beef.
It's surprisingly not a new beef when it comes to Final Fantasy XIV.
This is a repeating thing from Endwalker. Like, I just don't understand how they can take some of the best 4-man piece of content that they make and just completely butcher the reward structure on it. So for Quantum, it's the high 4-man, and at the end of Pilgrim's Traverse, you get to floor 100, you unlock Quantum, you feed all these extra what do they call it? Offerings.
Yeah.
And you can kind of increase the difficulty with all the offerings. You want to do all the offerings to get the maximum amount of rewards, but the rewards is the problem. The main reward from Quantum, are you ready for it? You guys ready for it? Okay. It's a title.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All the other rewards are stuff you could just get through Pilgrim's Traverse. It's just the bags, the blessing bags that you can get from just playing the regular Deep Dungeon. I just don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's an ongoing thing.
We got the RNG of the branded coffers. You don't have to look for them. You just get given some.
But still,
right, but just because it's easier to get shitty rewards doesn't make the reward system better.
You'd think with something that's the equivalent to an ultimate, as they've described it, you'd get a weapon that's equivalent to the raid weapon, at least.
And here's where my big frustration is I thought they had fixed that with Alolo, or however you pronounce that, the last Criterion. Where
I was going to say, we've talked about this with the whole Criterion system, where it's like one of the more interesting, smaller group, more challenging pieces of content that, you know, if you gave me a reason to do it, I wouldn't mind doing it. But I don't have a reason to do it besides experiencing it a few times. And maybe this, like, you know, in there it was, I got to do a couple different things to get the minions, but then I was done. You know, there is no replay loop where you want to go do it because you like the content, but you also have something to gain from doing it. It's just they can't get that. they keep doing it over and over and over again with that smaller person, more challenging, or smaller group, more challenging content.
Do you know
Very
what the most
disappointing.
egregious thing of this deep dungeon is?
What?
The 6+ different tokens.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the currency is also
Currency
kind of
bloat for one piece
brutal.
of content.
I had manageable inventory before. Half of that's gone with this deep dungeon, and I'm like, but I need to keep it all, and I don't have anywhere else to put it.
I mean, it is the one thing I want Final Fantasy XIV to steal from World of Warcraft, lock, stock, and barrel, is the collection system. Just lock,
Yes,
stock.
please.
I mean, to be fair, I think out of the best one is probably Elder Scrolls Online, right? Because then you can craft those items from your collection too. If you want to, not just for cosmetic reasons, but for gear reasons. If you've collected that before, you have the ability to then craft that piece should you need it again in the future. It's not just cosmetic. World of Warcraft is straight cosmetic, right? You collect all the pieces of gear and you get the whole set if you get all the pieces, and then you can transmog it anytime. None of it's in my inventory. It's account wide. None of it's in my inventory. None of it's in my bags. None of it's in my bank. None of it's being held by multiple retainers. Nothing's in this stupid armory that, like, you keep remembering. Do I have to go to the inn, or have I put something in my house that lets me get it from there? I can't remember. I'm just gonna fucking go to an like.
Just I search it. That's fine. That's their solution.
Exactly.
Have I checked my
Exactly.
retainers today for the iSearch to actually work?
Yeah, I literally want them to steal the whole collection system, because I mean, in World of Warcraft, I think we're about to have housing as part of that collection system too. And again, Final Fantasy is awful with like the inventory, inventory control for housing decorations and stuff. It's just, and I'm kind of sick of the whole, we've said this before in the past too, right? There are a lot of things that we've forgiven in Final Fantasy XIV over the years because it was originally programmed for the PlayStation 3 and had some challenges there, and then had some challenges with the 4. But come on, we're over a decade into this now.
Yeah.
We really need to tighten this up a little bit, because it doesn't feel. It's amazing to me, and I've been playing both, right? Maybe not so much a lot of Final Fantasy XIV, besides doing the Monster Hunter event and doing my dailies for crafting allied quests right now and stuff like that. But the games just feel very different, and World of Warcraft is older, right? When it comes to me managing my inventory, putting on glamours or transmogs, depending on the game, it just feels very different. One feels like a very smooth, intuitive design, and the other one is like, where the fuck did I leave that piece? And how many pyramids do I need? Oh, I don't need prisms anymore. Okay, cool. That's cool. Well, there's an inventory spot I can claim back. Like, it's just.
Let me go to my in room for the glamour dresser.
Exactly. Yeah, for the glamour dresser. Like, yeah.
Like, Square always had a thing of, we want to keep the player market base alive. Well, why don't you have a system where you can craft from your collection that instantly spirit bonds to you, and it can't be spirit bonded? So that way you can always remake something, but it's locked to you. You can't resell it on something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing that I would say to that is, okay, cool. That would make sense if other games like Guild Wars 2 and World of Warcraft and Elder Scrolls Online also did not have player marketplaces, but they do. Like, you can still have both, and they can both be successful. Yeah, but anyway, rewards. Still a problem. But if you want a new mount, All Saints Wake is on its way. Starts tomorrow and runs until November 4th. You get our little pumpkin friend mount, and then some wall art. So no minions this time around, but I absolutely will go get the mount. I probably won't read any of the quests.
No, skip all.
Sorry. All. And just fair warning, by the way, apparently this is still a problem on the Square Enix side of things. If you are buying game codes for Game Time online, make sure you are getting valid codes from valid vendors. We talked about this, I think it was a year ago, Tark, like maybe even a little more, where they were like, hey, we have, this is increasing and we're calling attention to it, because they changed their policy at that time too, right? They used to not punish the player that redeemed the code. But they were making that policy change, and it's still a thing. So if they put up a post just 2 days ago, just reminding everybody, if you get game time codes and you're trying to save a couple of bucks buying it from maybe a shady vendor online, just be aware that will eventually be flagged in their system. And if it's a fraudulent transaction, you're going to have your account suspended, and you will have to pay for that time again to Square Enix before you will be able to jump back into your account. So, and then they tell you, hey, go to Square Enix stores, go to GameStop, Green Man Gaming, Humble Bundle, Newegg, and Steam. On the European side of things, Square Enix Store, Green Man Gaming, Humble Bundle, and Steam. No GameStop for you guys, or no Newegg for you guys either.
What are those?
What are those? I don't understand.
I mean, we don't even know what a GameStop is anymore on this side of the pond.
Oh, we used to have one called Game, just that, and they've gone under recently. They're now part of a sports clothing outlet.
I can't say that. What? I actually went to my recent GameStop last week, in fact.
Yeah.
Because I went there to support them for... I think I told you this, Tark. You and I talked last week about FFTCG, but the GameStops are getting more into the card games again, which is funny because they got out of it years ago. They didn't want to deal with it anymore, and now they're getting into it. Like my GameStop has local Pokemon gameplay. There's like 1 or 2 6-foot tables in the middle of the store, and I'm like, well, that's what they're doing with that space from those old geek racks that aren't there anymore. So and they had FFTCG, so I bought some stuff and supported them. Yeah. So go give them a couple of bucks.
And then you flashed, you wiped off your shoulder and like, I called nationals.
So okay, don't do that to me, because I did mention it, but I didn't want to mention it. He kept the conversation going. That's exactly how it was, Flynn. He was like, "Oh, you know a lot about it. I'd love to learn it, but I don't know anybody about it. Are there game players around here? Where and when do they play?" And so I'm going through all of it. Do they have a competitive season? Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, "Yeah, it just actually finished this past weekend with the North American Championships in LA. Oh, how did you do? Oh, I wasn't there. I commentated the event. What? You commentated? Yeah, I commentated the event.
Yeah, Storytime with Mike was pretty good last week. So if you're watching this and you haven't watched last week's episode, go watch
it. Flynn's like, if you're watching this week's episode, which really blows, go watch last week's episode.
No, it was a fun story time.
You know what I'm hearing, Mike? I'm hearing less Flynn, more me and you.
It means I can go to bed, dude. Yeah.
He's like, I'm on the show and I'm telling you, shut this one off.
After you're done watching this episode, take a look at our previous entries. There's some good stuff there.
Go to Reddit to see everything.
Anyways,
I mean, so that's really it on the 14 front this week. Not much going on the 11 front either. But Flynn, I'll give you a chance to chime in. I know you had some thoughts that you expressed during chat, but now that you've had a little more time to think on it. What do you think is some of the contributing causes right now to 11 just kind of absolutely exploding population-wise?
What the hell did I say in chat last week now? A lot of it, I think, comes from the 24-man. There's like curiosity and get into it and realize, oh, we got some actual long-form grinding. That's rewarding. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a different, weird, jankier system to learn and everything else, but, there's stuff to do. That's not what we've been doing in 14 for 10 years, rinse and repeat every few months. I think that's probably the biggest thing. It's new and fresh to people who have never played before, or the people that have played, they left for years thinking, the game's on the downhill, 14's coming out, doing 1.0 and everything else. And just coming back and going, they're actually still updating.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you, Tark, what do you, I'm totally off topic and not in the show notes. What do you want out of the next Final Fantasy MMO? Assuming there is one, right? And we all assume that there probably will be. It's just a question of when and what number. Will it be given a number? Yoshi P has talked about that before, where maybe the numbering main lines don't make sense in the world of MMOs since they eventually shut down. But setting all of that aside and then forget about when, like, just at a core level, do you still want a tab target experience? Do you want something more, more sandboxy instead of theme parky? Like, what do you want in a next Final Fantasy MMO?
I haven't really thought about it that much. I would like a transmog system. You think they could start with that if they, from the ground up, that could be a thing? Maybe they could put that in there at the very beginning. I don't know.
I would hope so.
I want variety, I guess, is my key takeaway from this question. I want something more than the same old thing. And I do enjoy 14's rotation, but like I know nothing exciting is happening when a new patch is released. I know what I'm getting. I know what to do. I have fun with it, but I don't have that excitement that I used to have, like when Heaven's Ward or Stormblood would drop. We've been doing this for 12 years, bros. Yeah. 12 years. So, and the formula Flynn, really hasn't changed.
Well, yeah, and there's something to be said on the good side of that, right? Like, roughly what you're going to get when those patches are going to drop, when those expansions for the most part are going to drop. Like, you don't have those, while we've talked about maybe it feeling a little longer than we would like between patches, we still know when the patches are coming, right? We don't have what some MMOs have done in the past where it's you get a patch and then you're expecting a next one 4.5 months later and it doesn't come until 7.5 or 8 months later. Like, that's never really been a thing for us. So that's the good side of that.
Yeah.
But Flynn, we've got two MMOs that are conceptually very, very different. Mm-hmm. Right. One is very in the World of Warcraft vein, tab target combat, instance PvE, instance PvP. It's not even like a one open world. Everything is zoned, right? You can zone from one place to another, but you can't just walk into one. Then you go on the Final Fantasy XI side of things, and things are very, very different there, where yes, there is instanced content in there, but you don't have dungeons in the traditional MMORPG sense. Your raids are more imagined conflicts within entire cities, not so much here's an instanced or a trial. You have a very different type of character progression, including endgame horizontal progression in a couple different ways, and in a horizontal gear progression with a little bit of verticality on the +1, +2 stuff in there. They've played both sides of a very, very different fence here. What do you want out of the next one?
I think.
Are you like, it's got to be action combat? Like, are you one of those guys too? Are you done with a Final Fantasy tab target MMO?
Something a bit more Blade and Soul-esque.
In the combat style, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so kind of like that hybrid almost, where it's an action-y tab targety.
Yeah,
there are abilities that you have to aim and things, but not. It's not. It's not like a PvP extravaganza like a Terra was.
Yeah, something that feels a bit more skill expression in how you perform. I probably would like to see larger open maps that maybe evolve over time as we play the game. Like, we get it year near with 14 with like Bordona and Isleshire and that kind of stuff. But I think having a more open zone that can change over time might, as you go expansion to expansion, as the world changes, as the story progresses, I think that could be a fun idea, especially for a Final Fantasy system.
I'll tell you one thing that I really think 11 does a lot better than 14 does. And that is try to keep as many previous zones in the relevancy.
Yes.
Than 14 does.
That's the biggest downfall for 14.
14 is very much in the World of Warcraft vein, right? Where every expansion has to have a new hub, and that's going to be the new hangout. And there's really no reason. And they've experimented in the past, right? Like some of the relic stuff we've done in a couple different relic chains were made to, hey, if you don't want to go do this, then the alternative is you could go do fates in these zones, and they were older starter leveling zones. But that seemed to like coincide with the announcement of their free trial, and then they didn't do it again after that. Like, It was like they wanted. They did
in the collab.
Right. It was in the collab too. So I just, and that's not to say that Final Fantasy XI utilizes every old zone in meaningful ways. Some of them are slapdash. Some of the zones aren't used at all. And some of the zones are technically new zones because you're going back in time and hitting those zones. So they're different. You know, you're in southern Sandoria during the Beast War and then in the current time. Well, those are two different zones. They just happen to both be southern Sandoria. They have different builds and stuff. But it does keep, like, you know, your main hubs in Final Fantasy XI, 20 plus years later, are the main hubs from when I started playing when it launched in North America. And there's something cool about that. Now, there are one or two exceptions to that. Yes, Juneau isn't the thriving metropolis that it used to be as the singular central hub, but there are multiple central hubs. I can't tell you. If Wondrous Tales was not in Idleshire, I would never go to Idleshire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Unreal.
I just wouldn't.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. That's
the only
great.
time I tend to go back there is if I have to go to Adikar or Snowy for Wondrous Tales when I'm doing a Wondrous Tales gig. If they know my bonus, it's like, yeah, that zone.
I do want to see something a little more action combat-y. Something maybe like a Wild Star. I don't want it to be full-on Terra type action combat because, I mean, that can be fun, but I tend to not play those types of games for long stretches. They're the types of games that I hop into a month, I don't play for 2 months. Then I hop in for a month, then I don't play for 2 months. I'm very much a theme park tab target MMO fan. Very much so. But I don't mind mixing a little action in there. Like, I think WildStar did it very well, where you had a kind of a mix of abilities that if you were locked onto your target, it didn't matter, like you're facing. But then other abilities that you had to get the telegraph right on them, you know. That's not generally a thing in 14, right? As long as I'm within range of the ability and within sight, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit. In which case, you need to aim that.
Yeah, you do have to aim that. Anyway, what do you want to see? Let us know in the comments below out of some potential new Final Fantasy MMO. Well, how do you want it to play out? In some other Square Enix news, though, we are getting a new game, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yes. Square Enix has announced a new Final Fantasy game, and it's coming to mobile devices.
Boo.
And it's using the Dissidia name.
Opera Omnia Part 2?
Well, I mean, you know, there were people that liked Opera Omnia, so I can't really trash it. It wasn't for me, but it was certainly one of their less egregious mobile offerings, that's for sure.
Yeah. You could get away without spending money in Defu.
It's a team boss battle arena, only coming to iOS and Android. You can currently sign up for the beta. You're watching some footage now. There's a roster of characters that have been shown off as well. Yeah. So if you heard Dissidia and you were expecting a fighting game, no. If you heard a new Final Fantasy game and you were expecting PC or consoles, no. I don't know. Square Enix just has not figured out mobile to the point where anything lasts longer than 2 years in most cases, with a very, very small list of exceptions.
I think Dissidia as a whole, they don't know what to do with.
Flynn and I were talking before the show. Maybe they have figured it out, and they put out these mobile games, and they just milk what they can from it as soon as it starts to die off. All right, we're closing the game. Wash our hands. And they're like, and there's nothing anybody can do about it.
Some of the character art looks neat, and then there was. It's nice to see Gaia being used for something.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Rather than this Stola, which is weird for 14.
Yeah, it's very nice to see Gaia being used for something. So there's that. And then we've seen some screenshots of like abilities, and some of the art is art that's on FFTCG cards. So if you go to the website, the actual Dissidia, what by the way, what is it? Dualum or Dualum? It's Dualum. I heard somebody say Dualum, and I'm thinking, okay, fine, whatever. I see it. And you scroll down to about the midway point. There's a simple controls like micro video in there, and you see the like diamond shapes with character faces in it. There's a cloud one in the dead center bottom. That is a card in Final Fantasy. There's a Sarah one, or sorry, not a Sarah, a lightning one in the dead center bottom. That is a Final Fantasy TCG card art too. That is art that was specifically commissioned for the game, the TCG, but I guess they're getting their money's worth, right? They're going to get their money's worth and use it there. I mean, it is theirs. You know, whatever you want to do with it. What do you... I just don't care, Tark. Like, as soon as I heard... We had a tease like 2 days ahead of time, and as soon as I heard where it was going, I was like, yeah, I'm just not interested. Even if at some point it eventually, inevitably almost, in my mind, finds its way to a PC port, I just don't care.
Yeah. I was like half interested, and I don't understand what this game is. I know Flynn is in the open beta or applied for it.
I've applied for
the beta. I don't think I'm gonna even apply for it. I might check it out. I just don't have time for mobile games. I have cut off all my mobile games. I'm basically done with them. Then I'm disappointed by Terra not having green hair. It's just very sad.
Flynn, you did sign up for the beta?
Has a green hair outside of her alternate costumes.
You know what? You leave me alone, okay? She has green hair in the game. Just leave it alone.
You signed up for the beta, Flynn?
Yeah, I thought, screw it, why not?
Are you looking forward to it all, or you're just like morbid curiosity type thing?
Just curiosity.
Gotcha.
What they need to do with Dissidia is make a 3D fighter like they had for the April Fools for 14 years ago. So we got old school Dissidia sort of coming back, and we have something we could chuck at Evo and, Pop Fantasy on the fighting game stage.
Yeah. Square Enix always has that habit, right? Of like, if they try something in a genre, they always got to put a weird spin on it sometimes, even if it's to the detriment of the project, right?
Yeah.
Like the most recent Dissidia for consoles, I like conceptually the idea of a Final Fantasy fighting game. I think that's interesting. I'm not a huge fighter player myself. I dabble in them. I am terrible at them. So, nobody's going to be watching me for strategy or anything. And I did think there was something interesting about Dissidia's combat system. But it made me also go, why isn't this just like even a 2D fighder? Like it doesn't even have to be a 3D fighter. Why didn't they just make a fighter and put all the Final Fantasy that would have gone crazy. And then you know what? You own both. So you do Final Fantasy v Dragon Quest. There you go. Dump them all in there. It'd be great. And so
you just give the Dissidia title. It doesn't have to just stick to Final Fantasy anymore. Just have it called Dissidia and
let it be its own thing. Yeah. Let it be its own thing. Let it breathe its own thing.
Because you'd have a roster of like 300 plus characters you could build with DLC, which they obviously can make money from.
That's the strongest asset the company has, right? Is all of this protected IP and characters that people know, love, and can't wait to buy the next collectible of. We all have our favorites, right? Yep. Flynn or Tark, the way you just reacted to Terra, right? Like you have your favorites, and if a Terra art book comes out, you're looking at it. Maybe you buy it, maybe you don't, but it immediately catches your attention because you love Terra, you love 6. We all have those games, and it's like the single strongest thing they can do with them. And I understand they don't want to do too many things with them because then you're oversaturating the market, but if you're going to do things like Dissidia and stuff like that, maybe just sometimes take the easier, more direct route. I want to make a Final Fantasy fighting game. Okay, what does that look like? It looks like fucking Street Fighter with Final Fantasy characters. What do you think it looks like? Well, I was thinking it could be this 3-on-3, 3-dimensional combat system. No, just let Cloud and Tifa punch each other, and we'll walk away happy. I don't know.
They could
It's
get
just
with Bandai Namco.
maybe a little overthinking on some things. I don't know.
Like, get with Bandai Namco. They got Clive and Tekken. Like, work with them to make a Final Fantasy fighting game. Or, when Arc System Works is done with Marvel, partner with them.
Yeah.
They have no problem doing other IPs. Dragon Ball.
Oh, before we leave this Dissidia topic, there are often articles on comicbook.com that make it as part of this show because they cover, anime and video games to a certain extent on TV and stuff like that. And so occasionally I'll quote them as for some interview or whatever. I had to include them and put them on blast for this one. I had mentioned that we knew that there was a Dissidia announcement coming 2 days before the announcement came. They did like an announcement of an announcement type thing. And comicbook.com, guys, come on. Tyler, this headline is just mean. This is so clickbait. Square Enix to announce new Final Fantasy game in 48 hours. And while not technically wrong, that's just mean.
Yep.
Announcement of an announcement of an announcement.
Yeah, I feel my buddy found out about the Dissidia reveal through this, and I just had about 20 angry texts off him, just ranting and raving.
That was just mean, guys. Tyler, we're gonna take you out back and beat you with a rubber hose, man. That's you're not technically lying, so I can't accuse you of straight up clickbait. But damn, that's some cold shit, Tyler. That's some cold stuff for Final Fantasy fans. But while we're talking about doing something else, I found an interesting article over on fullclear.com, guys. And by the way, they're an ad-free site. So when you're reading through this stuff, there are affiliate links in there, and you can support them by buying things from the links. But they disclose that on everything. So good stuff. Fullclear.com. Jason Siu wrote an article about the franchise Square Enix should use to chase trends, but isn't. Kind of going along with what we're saying. It's like, what genres, if you just wanted to capitalize on the characters without overexposing them or making them just cheap $2 mascots because they're in every freaking game that Square Enix can shove them in. Let's say you wanted to do something seriously with just the splash of Final Fantasy characters. And we've seen Square dabble in this, Flynn, with things like World of Final Fantasy, right? Yes. Where we had a very Pokemon-esque type game in collecting all the Final Fantasy characters and battling with them and stuff like that. If you wanted to do something like that, an anthology of all Final Fantasy characters interacting in Game A, what are you making? And I don't want to tip what Jason's answer was. We'll come back to Jason's answer because it's a super interesting one. But you personally, what are you going for?
This is probably the dumbest answer you can give, but because of how the company handles this sort of combine the universe into one game sort of thing, Lego.
Dude, that really works. Like the Lego Batman, the Lego Marvel stuff.
The Skywalker saga.
Yeah. That really works.
I mean, they've done all sorts of IPs. Incredibles.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones.
And I know technically, right, like things like Kingdom Hearts do this, but Kingdom Hearts at its core is still an RPG. I'm trying to get away from the RPG. So we won't, Go ahead. Flynn, tell me more.
Just that is like...
just let me be Cloud and
let's say all 16 current games, but in Lego. And as you go through, you unlock the other characters. There's hubs to walk around in. But as you go through the game, you can go back to going through the Final Fantasy 1 section as Cloud, as Lightning, as Noctis. Just because you've unlocked the characters and you can play around and have a buddy join you, sat on the couch, also just smashing Sid in the face just to get some more studs.
That would be a day one purchase for me.
I kind of would like, and Square Enix does do this type of stuff, right? I mentioned World of Final Fantasy, but we also talked about we've talked about Theatrhythm on here, right? And that's very much just capitalizing on the music and the assets of all the existing Final Fantasies. I don't think I told either of you this, and I meant to. On my way back from Raleigh the last Materia Cop at the end of August. My buddy and I were driving down and back together. So on the way back, we stopped at like 2 or 3 different retro game stores. And I think I told you guys about the actual limited run store when we went there. I totally forgot. There was this mom and pop retro game shop that we went to on the way home. And it was, they had a lot of stuff, but a lot of it was just like old crap. And the store smelled funny, but like you could tell like, they were collectors that were just like, hey, I'm a collector too. Is there anything in here you want to buy? Like it wasn't like this, overly sanitized video game retro store or anything like that. They had a couple arcade machines throughout the building, which was really just the bottom floor of a house. Like you felt like you were walking from the living room into the dining room in certain cases. So they had a bunch of arcade machines, 3 or 4 in totally, just different segments of this building. And in the back corner, they had one of the Japanese Final Fantasy Theatrhythm machines, and it worked.
Wow.
And it was immaculate. And I played it, and I have never played on the original control scheme of the arcade machine, which is like these 2 bulbs that you kind of palm and slap back and forth.
I've used those.
I've never used them before.
Arcade.
So I played a couple on easy just to like kind of get the feel of it. And I was like, oh, okay. And I had to ask. I went up and I was like, are any of these arcade games for sale? And the lady says, no, they're not. And I said, I'm willing to make you an offer on this Theatrhythm machine in the back. And she said, I can't. And I said, are you sure? I said, I'm nuts for this stuff. And because I really wanted this fucking machine, man. And she goes, it's not mine to sell. And I said, oh, okay. Well, can I leave a note for whoever's it is? I will drive back, because it was about the halfway point. So it was only like 4 hours away. And she said, you can, but it's not going to do you any good. It's the owner's machine. And it's one of his favorite things. He's a Final Fantasy nut, and it's one of his favorite. And I was like, yeah, I ain't getting that.
Fair. Yeah.
I was like, I ain't getting that.
We've
I like the Lego
can I
story.
expect to deal with an inheritance at
Right.
a reasonable time?
Nace Coldfire in chat saying hero shooter. That's kind of nutty to think about. A Final Fantasy hero shooter.
A Marvel Rivals, but Final Fantasy.
I mean, why not, right?
Yeah.
Marvel Rivals is just stupid gangbusters right now. And sure, it's a bigger IP, on a global stage than Final Fantasy is, but Final Fantasy ain't no slouch when it comes to, they got plenty of characters to use. Plenty.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting one. I don't know if I'd play it too much, but damn.
I would give it a try.
That'd be, and that's one of those things too. The importance of doing things like this is, can you capitalize on the audience that doesn't know who your characters are? You make a solid hero shooter, somebody that's never heard of Final Fantasy will play it, right? As long as it's a solid hero shooter. What's a Final Fantasy? I don't know. What's a Terra? I gotta get the fuck out of here. Who's Cloud? Yeah,
if they
sky?
chuck First Soldier on consoles and PC, it might have changed the fortune of that.
The battle royale portion. Yeah. Again, though, mobile, cash in. Them. What do you got, Tark? What do you want to do? Anything special you want to try?
Mine's still RPG adjacent. I don't think Square has done a proper ARPG like Diablo-esque, and Yoshi P has talked about that.
Yeah.
You got all these jobs that if you flesh it out, could make, you don't have to use individual characters. You could just use the jobs. That could be really interesting.
Yeah, he very much wants to make a Diablo type game. Yeah. I think that if you do a Diablo, though, you end up with the player character being classes, and then the game just ends up being, or the NPCs just end up being, Final Fantasy characters.
Yeah.
So you don't get the play as your favorite characters like Flynn's example or the hero shooters, but you kind of go for a totally different player base. Again, though, you make it solid enough, people aren't going to care that it has Final Fantasy on it or not. They'll go and play it, and maybe it draws them into Final Fantasy. 16 is not the most successful Final Fantasy, but it did bring people to the franchise that aren't all that familiar with Final Fantasy, because it went in a different direction with its combat. And people that like Devil May Cry were like, I don't know what a Final Fantasy is. And wow, there's 15 of these games. Boy, were those fuckers surprised.
16? What about the other 15?
Yeah, exactly. Are they all like this? That's amazing. Oh yeah, they're totally all like this. Go buy buy all of them.
Go buy the Pixel remaster.
Well, Jason, in their article on Full Cleared, posits, if you will, that the franchise Square Enix should be using to chase trends, but isn't, is actually Genshin Impact,
which would be wild.
That kind of almost single-playery MMO, where it's got aspects of being able to bring other players to your instance of the world and things like that. It is still very much leaning, kind of like yours, on the RPG side of things. But I don't think any of us look at Genshin Impact and just call it a flat-out RPG like a Kingdom Hearts or something like that. We also don't look at it and call it an MMO. It's kind of got aspects of that and a few other genres just kind of mixed in there. I feel like that is very much in their wheelhouse. I think Jason has a very, very good point here, because that would play very similarly to me to World of Final Fantasy. It just wouldn't be like turn-based pet battling, but like walking through the world and meeting those characters and things like that. Go ahead.
If you took that product description that is the Genshin Impact style game and you put the original Dissidia NT trailer, I think it would match up to actually looking like it could be a Genshin Impact style game.
Yeah.
Because the way they directed that trailer very much looked like open world-ish, large zones. It's like, this fits.
Yeah, Jason says, sure, it's likely Square Enix wants to avoid chasing trends, and creating a Genshin Impact clone isn't exactly cheap. Right on both counts. But the company is already outsourcing its mobile games to other developers, with Dissidia Duellum Final Fantasy coming from NHN Play Art. Given the success of Genshin Impact and all the clones out there, so much so that HoYoverse is cannibalizing its own customer base, a Dissidia version would likely join the ranks of games generating billions. All the same monetization tactics used in those titles would work, including costumes. They're already in Dissidia Duellum Final Fantasy, weapons, and characters. Fans would pull for their favorites and be thoroughly entertained equipping Warrior of Light with the Buster Sword. If Square Enix wants to continue trying to compete in the mobile space, it really should be leveraging the Dissidia franchise to chase those trends. Then there's the idea of creating something like a Teamfight Tactics clone. Now, personally, I will say that neither of those two games particularly appeals to me as a gamer. I don't like the gacha pulling type games of Star Rail and Genshin Impact and things like that. And Teamfight Tactics is just kind of like those almost AFK games. That's just not for me personally. But I cannot argue with the idea, conceptually at least, that there is something there that could be extremely profitable for Square, Tark.
Absolutely. If they did that, I would be playing day one. I tried Genshin Impact. I was playing, 6 hours a day after work for a couple months. And then there's like that, I realized that my first love, 14 was being kind of left in the dust. And I was like, no, I need to get back to that. So I dropped it. You make a Final Fantasy Genshin Impact and I might shut down 14.
Yeah, you broke.
I'd be broke.
you broke.
Where's my wallet?
Message the kids, Daddy's broke.
It's gone.
Flynn, you in?
I give it a go at least.
I'd be all over your Lego idea.
Final Fantasy has enough waifus that it would market.
It would market itself. It would market itself. Here's the thing, though. Like, they would do it, and they would pull it off relatively well and successfully, and it'd be kind of interesting to play. But then they'd fuck up the monetization because they'd like try to do something slightly different. And it's like, once again, you don't need a unique spin on every single thing you do. Sometimes just doing what people like and doing it better or smoother or prettier than other people do it is enough. Yeah. Particularly for a company that I feel like for the last, I don't know, probably 5 years, maybe arguably more, has really kind of struggled to find its place in the current just gaming market at large. I mean, obviously it's doing well on the MMO front. Arguably, we're in a downturn right now, but it knows it's there. 16 had its challenges. 7, even both of those editions, while well received, have not exactly been selling gangbusters. It's a company that has a lot of panache and a lot of history behind it, but has kind of struggled to find its place and its niche in a modern gaming market. And I think some of that is always having to try to put a unique spin on something when polish might just be enough to get you there in some cases, you know? I don't know. I don't want them to just become yet another company. That's not what I'm advocating for. Yeah. But when you need to make a little money to run your damn business and fund some of those more experimental, you know, Project Triangle, Octopath, you know, those weren't immediately going to be huge money makers right out the gate. They were risky, unknown ventures. If you want to fund those things and have those successes, sometimes you got to do the thing that's going to bring the money in the door. And that's not going to be your special, unique snowflake game that sets you apart. That's going to be something that has broad appeal, solid monetization, and can make you some cash. A hero shooter, Cold Fire, is fucking right down that alley, right? Make a solid hero shooter. Nobody's going to care if it's coming from Square Enix and it's Final Fantasy based. They just want a solid hero shooter. Look at Marvel Rivals, man.
Do you know what could make some money for Square? Additional client for the TCG.
Yeah. I mean probably not a lot of money, but money. It's money that you don't, like, it just prints itself at that point, right? I mean, you just whatever.
Need to build the client. You have all the cards, just feed it into the client.
I mean, all the art's yours. You're using it in other games.
You've already collaborated with Magic. Get their devs to make the system for you.
Speaking of the Final Fantasy VII remake, the director says that Part 3 will be loved by everyone. Hamaguchi-san says, of course, I already have a clear idea for the ending of Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3, which, by the way, no subtitle yet. I think this conclusion will appeal to both those who love the original and those who became fans of Final Fantasy VII thanks to the remake series. I'm confident this new game will be loved by everyone, and everyone being those two groups. I hope so. Yeah. I hope so.
If it has Charlie, it will be a 5 out of 10, no matter how good it is.
Nate's Cold Fire. I like Wuthering Waves better than Genshin. I do too. But if you made a Final Fantasy Genshin, I would drop Wuthering Waves so fast. I mean, it's hard to argue with it.
Yeah.
And speaking of other things we want, Tark, this is one we've wanted for a while, but are also cautiously like,
apprehensive.
About a little.
Is my word.
Yeah, apprehensive is a great word. So Trent Cannon over at the Popverse, while they were at the PAX West show and talking to Hiroshi Minagawa about the impending release of that time of Final Fantasy Tactics, offhandedly they started talking about Chrono Trigger and how Trent wanted a remake of that. And Mahihiro Minagawa agreed. Minagawa-san saying, Chrono Trigger is obviously such a popular game, and I know there's a ton of fans worldwide. We did put it out on Steam at one point, but it was more of a port than a remaster. But even so, when it came out, we heard even more people talking about, hey, we want more than this. We want a full remake or remaster treatment. I myself am a big fan of the game as well, so I think from that perspective too, I would really love to see it happen. Now, obviously, it doesn't have say in what Square Enix is actually going to do, but there are so many Square Enix employees behind the scenes that have now said, "Yeah, I'd like to see that too. Yeah, I'd like to see that too." Like, it's like, then make it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, we thought maybe something, because when the Radical Dreamer came out for Chrono Cross, we thought, maybe they're gonna do something with the Chrono Trigger, and just this company is so confusing because they take these moments like Chrono Cross and re-releasing it, and then just squander any momentum that might be generated from it, and it really baffles me. But if this happened, just the HD 2D remake system, put it in there.
Yep, 100%.
Absolutely freaking gorgeous. You don't really have to change anything with the battle system. Don't change anything with the battle system. This is what people said about 7 remake, right? They just wanted 7 prettier. Just make Chrono Trigger prettier. That's it.
That's all I wanted out of the 11 remake when that
money.
was. That's all I wanted out of the 11 remake when it was a thing.
Oh,
Saying, give me everything the same. Just make it prettier. Tighten up that UI. Yeah, maybe a few, a few fewer menus.
Play online.
You can play online, man. Hey, we got just a couple before we head over and do our love it or leave it. We do have just a few tidbits of things to look at on the Octopath Traveler 0 front. The site officially has been updated, and so we get a little look at our new antagonist, some of the additional travelers, the expanded town building mechanics. So you do have to go through Google Translate because this is on the Japanese site, so you'll use Google Translate. Although GamerBraves.com has a great little summation of each of like the 3 or 4 things that they've put here. My favorite one is the tyrant themselves, because it's the tyrant who rules all of Orstera. At the heart of Octopath Traveler 0 stands Partis III, the ruthless monarch of the kingdom of Edoras. Obsessed with wealth, fame, and power, he commands his armies to conquer the entire continent of Ostera. His greed spreads war across nations, leaving devastation in his path. As the ring bearer, players must rise against his tyranny and challenge his reign before darkness consumes the land. His hunger for domination fuels a story of revenge, restoration, and divine destiny. And I picked that one just because I really like the art for that screen. Yeah. That looks beautiful. But yeah, if you want a couple just small little tidbits like that, there's 3 other ones. I won't spoil them for you. You can check them out on the Octopath Traveler 0 site. Let's head over and do Love It or Leave It. Love it or leave it is the way we end every episode of the Relic Grind here. It's where I give you something Square Enix related. Could be some a game of theirs, something they did or said, or something just tangentially related to the company. And I ask you whether you love it, want more of it, or leave it and never to be seen again. No fence sitting here. And I think I got to go with this one, guys. If you wanted a Final Fantasy Genshin Impact, I think Tark will start with you because I think we already know your answer based on the way you talked about the topic.
Spill the beans.
Yeah, like going broke is probably a love it proposition for you, unless you're going to leave it so that you can keep your money.
No, I might love it, and goodbye wallet, goodbye time, goodbye Final Fantasy XIV. I don't know. Yeah, that would be just pretty awesome. I'd be all about it.
Tark, Flynn, sorry, I was looking at Tark's camera shot still. My bad.
So for a potential Dissidia duo in Cussus, try and find something weird and laterally that sort of makes sense.
Just absolutely rip it from them. It's Dissidia Impact.
It was him. Whichever Latin word I just bloody said. What was it? Incussus is impact translated. It's like, yeah, you said.
Okay.
Yeah, screw it. Love it. Let's go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do 2 here. I'm gonna love it from a perspective of the company would probably do really well with it, and I do kind of like the idea of like a very long form, constantly continuing one long RPG narrative, right? Because that's kind of what Genshin is. There's side stories and stuff like that. I'm not saying it's just the one line through there. But I love the potential of what they could do for it. From a personal standpoint, I'd probably leave it. I would check it out as a Final Fantasy fan, but I don't see it being something I would sink a ton of time into simply because I'm just not generally for those gacha type games. And I'm not really generally a fan of that type of monetization. I can't argue with the effectiveness of it or the profitability of it. They are both effective and profitable. But I have personal reservations with some of the more predatory ways those systems can be used. And I don't exactly have the best confidence when it comes to Square Enix not being predatory with them because we've seen some of their mobile stuff. So from a personal perspective, I'm going to leave it. From them doing what I would like to see them do and deliver solid experiences in slightly new ways to make money to fund some of the other things they want to do, I love it. So I got to give them both, but from different perspectives there. I'm all in favor of you doing it. I just don't know if I'd be really your customer for very long.
That sounds like fence sitting.
No, I wouldn't play it, but I want to see you make it. I love the idea of you making it, but I just personally wouldn't be a player of it. And if I was, I'd be a super casual one, right?
Super cash.
I'd be like, what's 5-star what? Like, I don't know what any of this is. No, I'm just playing the story and then I'm done. That's going to do it for today's show. We'll be back next Thursday with another episode of the Relic Grind. Don't miss Tuesday's show, Gaming Gumbo, which we just did 2 days ago. It's up on YouTube and up on Ready Check Radio. This will be up shortly, and we'll see you next Tuesday and Thursday. Tark will be streaming midnight right here. Until all of those events, though, Flynn, where can everybody find you?
You can find me just existing in Ether at a minute. Year on Thursdays is pretty much totally guaranteed place you'll see me. Streaming is a bit hit and miss. I'm enjoying Digimon too much to stream it because I'm just like, I'm enjoying this so much. I don't want to look over at a separate screen right now.
Tark.
Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all at Tarkoth Gaming. Currently playing a lot of Final Fantasy XIV and Final Fantasy Tactics. We're in Chapter 2. And like Byrne said, you can find me here on Ready Check Radio Saturday nights. Currently playing Final Fantasy V. We're almost done. I think 1 or 2 more sessions will be on to 6.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me personally right there at Magic Man 1, but more importantly, follow at RC Radio, and you'll know every time we're going live with a podcast, one of our streamers, or some Final Fantasy trading card game live locals every Monday night. We'll be playing a Win-A-Box this Monday night coming, so stay tuned. Until next time, gang, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.